What is up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong. I am the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. In the Image Clothing Company, Poodles, one of our fourths, is where you are here. What we do here on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, I know it sounds weird because we're a clothing company, we're doing things for dogs. Well, the reason we're a clothing company to begin with is because anything placed onto the human body has the potential to alter the body. We just talk about clothing staying centered, fitting correct, and being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials to not alter our body's functioning. The only reason we're a clothing company to begin with is to allow the body of the human being to work, okay? Joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts and just not altering the human being, okay? But over here on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we do the same thing through clothing. It's just the literal wording of anything placed onto something else. Slip leads, collars, leashes, bandanas, harnesses, whatever you place onto a dog. It's just the literal word of clothing the dog with something. And so we just don't want to alter the dog's bodies. So keeping collars centered and the importance of snug collars are a couple videos on In the Image Clothing Company's main side. For us as human beings, it applies to the dogs as well. These are a lot of the things that we do, but letting dogs stay natural is our slogan here on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. And this comes through a lot of different ways. This video's title though, okay, before I discuss any more, let me tell you what the reason for this video is and why this would even matter. The title of this video on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, the 6th of April, 2026, is Being the Alpha Dog, okay? Now, yeah, we have these domesticated dogs. They live in our modern man-made world that we place onto God's natural earth. Dogs are naturally just in the wild, okay? Wolves, coyotes, foxes, whatever kind of dog it is. Our goal on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company is natural, okay? There's always natural things only. Matter cannot be created or destroyed. So we can take natural things as human beings and alter them to unnatural, synthetic, and artificial things. Anything like this, these are synonyms with fake, but everything always decomposes back to natural. So, letting dogs stay natural, it comes through a lot of different ways because our modern domesticated dogs are living such different lives in almost every case than any dog would possibly be able to even have the opportunity to try to live in the wild. Okay, we selectively breed dogs as human beings. We choose which dogs have puppies, and in the wild, this just happens through survival of the fittest. So there's always healthy dogs in nature. There has to be for them to live, to be able to even have puppies, or else they die because it's harsh in nature. And our dogs in our domesticated societies, often we're breeding dogs that are becoming very unhealthy. So we discussed the importance of purebred dogs. The only way you'd get a mixed dog in the wild is having two different types of dogs coming together, like a wolf or a coyote, and then you've got a mix of the two. But it's very common in our modern societies as human beings with our domesticated dogs to have these mixed dog breeds, and it's very unhealthy in almost every case. And so these are a lot of the things that we do under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles here. But we also talk about it like this: blunt, bold, raw, and real, In the Image Clothing Company style. I understand the surrounding sounds where they are, but it just is what it is, as if you're just here with us and we're just delivering information. Through these videos, we call it the gift of video, okay? It's awesome to just be able to document things. You say it once and then it's permanently documented. So, being the alpha dog, what does it mean, first of all? And then also, why is it important to even have the approach of being the alpha dog? Well, Dante's here, my current standard poodle. We specialize in purebred standard size poodles. Standard is the large size and poodle is the breed. But we give information that applies to all dogs and even any animal across the earth that it would here under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, because any animal that's under human beings' care or ownership just has a different life than it naturally would. And so emulating their natural lives, or just understanding what it means for these animals to be naturally healthy, really that's the focus, is the health of the animals. That can apply to any animals. You know, things like pack mules or horses, you place a halter on them to lead them where you want to go, yeah, where you want them to follow you to, you know, these things just have to be centered around the animals, or else tying knots one side over the other around the neck of an animal, for example, you twist their entire spine through their whole body and damage their body. They get into chronic patterning, bone spurs, scar tissue. Same thing for us as human beings with our clothing. If it's not fitting us properly, that's the real reason we're a clothing company. Okay, so when it comes to being an alpha dog, though, Dante will come be in the video more as the video progresses, and we'll talk about some things, and he'll be the visual to see what I'm saying. Okay, because in a dog pack in the wild, we've got a lot of roles these dogs play. Okay, in our societies as human beings, we have teachers and students, or we have leaders and followers, or we have whatever you could say like this, different roles we play within our society. Even in a family dynamic, we have the parents and the children, you know, and this is just how our societies work. We all have to play our roles. We talked about the bodies, right? We discussed the anatomy of the human body in depth under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. We talk about the anatomy of the dog's bodies as well, and everything in the body's got its own different function it plays, and it all has a different role, okay? So the body works activated as a whole. The body really can only work if it's all working together. Now, within the family dynamics of human beings or of dogs, there is roles, or there are roles that we play individually, and then it all works together well, okay? The parents play their roles, the children play their roles, okay? The teacher plays their roles, and the students play their role. Yeah, okay, whatever we could say, because there's a whole lot of different dynamics we have depending on the situation in life as human beings. But within the dogs, they have this pack. So dogs have a family. They have multiple dogs, 5 dogs, give or take, let's say, are in a pack. There will be a leader dog to the rest of the pack, okay? This leader is what they call the alpha dog, or what we call the alpha dog as human beings, right? So we can understand how this works. Dogs are very intelligent. They have a lot of understanding of life. Dogs will hunt, and they'll do it all together. Like I'm saying, how the body, and the way that we discuss the functionality and the mechanical workings of the body, it's just flesh and blood and bone. It only does what it does because it's all working together. In a dog pack, if they're going to hunt and successfully kill an animal so they can all eat, they have to do it all together. And you've got dogs that just play their different roles in the pack. Certain dogs will circle around the back and come in to surround the animal they're trying to kill, to eat. Certain dogs will be giving commands to other dogs on what to do. And you've just got different roles in each of the dogs standing, if you will, in the what we could call hierarchy of the dog pack, right? You've got the leader, and then the people under that leader, and then the people under that person, and the people under that person. Really, when it comes to human beings, we've got, well, yeah, like the president of the United States of America, and then you've got the governors and yeah. This is just interesting because this video is actually a really important thing to see. Being the alpha dog. Let me explain what I'm saying here. I mean, I'm explaining it, but let me really get to what it means to be the alpha dog to a dog, and why this would ever matter. Because in a dog's pack in the wild, there's going to be one dog that needs to be in charge. Because think about having 5 people, and you're all trying to figure out what to do, and no one's actually in charge. Then you've got maybe 3 of the 5 people trying to give orders to other people, and it doesn't really work if there's not a designated leader. That's why it really is good to have a leader, you know? We are In the Image Clothing Company, after all, designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. We, as disciples of Jesus Christ, we follow God. He's our leader, and that's how we know what to do, because we have a designated leader. This is how it is in the pack of the dogs in the wild, is they have a designated leader. That's what's called the alpha dog. Because if they had a pack of dogs, just a wild pack of dogs, and each dog in the pack was all trying to be in charge, who's going to be able to listen to who? You're not going to have people working together unless there's one person designated to lead them. You're not going to have dogs working together very well unless there's one dog designated to lead them. We can think about it like this even. Having a company or a business, and you've got the boss or the CEO or the founder or the person who's leading it. That's how the rest of it works, is because they look to the person who's in charge of it, and then underneath that person there's other people that are in charge of other things. Underneath the alpha dog there's other dogs that are in charge of other things within the pack. So this is how authority, if you will, gets delegated within the dog pack. Otherwise, they're not going to work as a pack. They might all try to do their own thing, and then who's going to be the final say or the loudest voice or the one to correct the behavior? Who's going to be the one that's going to organize the hunt for the dogs so that they can all eat together? The point of all this is it's a beneficial thing. It's beneficial for us as human beings to have a society that's run by certain people being in charge, and then there's people underneath those people that are in charge, and people underneath those people that are in charge with a lesser degree of authority as you go down the line. But this is how it really works to have a society work together. We see it in our own societies as human beings, and it's the same in the dogs, wild dog packs, okay? So, the alpha dog, or the leader dog, this is the dog that basically has the final say over the rest of the dogs. And this is an extremely natural thing for dogs to experience. Dogs will look to the alpha dog to know what to do. And if dogs don't have an alpha dog, they're going to have an unstructured life, an unsuccessful life, because dogs can't hunt very well on their own. They rely on working together to be able to hunt down a kill so they can all eat. So the alpha dog is a dog that's not this overbearing dog for the rest of the pack. It's the dog that's really helping the whole pack, uniting the whole pack, and doing this in a proper way, because what it is the dog that has the most experience in the pack, and that's how it knows how to lead the rest of the dogs, okay? The dog that's generally the most capable at what they're doing with hunting, okay, or tracking things, or finding a place to be, or, you know, finding a territory to claim. It's usually the dog with the most experience that the other dogs will look up to, because this is the alpha dog. But this dog has to make itself known to the other dogs, or they're not going to listen to the dog. But we need a leader. Dogs need an alpha dog. So now here we go. Now we take these wild animals, these once just wild dogs, these canines, we domesticate them, we bring them into our man-made society, and we change their whole lives, their whole dynamics. Dogs are no longer in packs quite the same as they are in the wild when we own them as human beings. Maybe you just have one dog. Maybe you have 2 dogs, maybe you've got like 8 dogs or more. You know, a lot of people will have a lot of dogs. Sled dogs up in Alaska, for example, or places like this up north where it's very cold most all the year. A lot of people will have like 40 dogs, okay? And so the point is, how do we get all of our dogs, whether you have one dog or you have multiple dogs, to listen to us? Why is your dog going to choose to listen to you? Maybe you have no other dogs, but just one dog. Well, why are they going to listen to you? And then, if you have multiple dogs, why is the dog going to listen to you as a human being over listening to any of the other dogs that you have, that they're around? Okay? We need to be the alpha dog for our dog. This isn't an egoic thing. This isn't a tyrannical thing. This isn't us trying to just always take charge because we just want to. Being the alpha dog, this video's title, In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, the 6th of April, 2026. This is for the health and safety of our dogs. This is for the fulfillment of our dogs, and this is to have our dogs be just well-rounded and capable, okay? We need to be the alpha dog to our dogs. So what does this mean, and how does this come? How are we going to get a dog to listen to a human being? No wild dog's ever just going to decide to listen to a human being, really, except through training, okay? So when we train our dogs, we need to be harsh with our dogs. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't like the idea of being very stern, very harsh, very disciplinary with their dogs. We've got to remember where these dogs came from. We've got to remember the slogan under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles here, letting dogs stay natural. In the wild, which I fully understand, our domesticated dogs are to a degree removed from how they naturally are in the wild. And that's the point, is we've changed their natural workings. These dogs are only what they are. God designed the dogs, and then human beings changed their natural workings and order of things and societies when we domesticate the dogs, okay? But, yeah, in the wild, dogs are very aggressive with each other. How does an alpha dog become an alpha dog in a wild dog pack? Well, like I was saying, a lot of experience can play into a dog becoming the alpha dog in the pack, but the dog that becomes the leader to the rest of the dog is a dog that's very aggressive with the other dogs. Now here's the thing, we need to understand what it means to be aggressive. A lot of people think about hostility when they hear the word aggression. Now, aggression is healthy and a normal thing to do. You can aggressively go toward a goal in your life. You can aggressively play a sport. You can aggressively have a debate, or in a courtroom, you can aggressively defend your side of things. And that's a healthy, restrained, proper approach to just sternly doing something, firmly doing something, and very deliberately doing something. You can do it aggressively, okay? That's not a bad thing at all. Now, we have the other end. Often people think of aggression as what's actually called hostility, where someone's out of control. And I've been there, right? We get there where we do, as human beings, as dogs, as any animal, when you're like really upset or mad, and all of a sudden you're flipping tables or something like this, right? And you're basically out of control. That's hostility. Aggression is good, okay? That's how we get things done in life, is we work at it and work at it and work at it and be aggressive with our approach to it, okay? So that's a big point, because that's a really good word to use to show what it means to be the alpha dog, is being aggressive with your dog. As far as being aggressive through the trainings and the teachings to your dog that you're doing and your approach with that. In nature, these dogs will have their mothers be very aggressive with them. In the wild, when a dog is born, and really even in our domesticated dogs to the degree that this happens, the mother will be very aggressive with the puppies. The mother dog will grab the puppies by the back of their neck with her teeth, because dogs don't have opposable thumbs like human beings to grab things with. They use their mouth. And if the mother has her litter of puppies just together, safe in the den, or just, near each other in the wild, if one of the puppies starts to crawl off, the mother dog will go aggressively grab the dog by the back of the neck with her teeth, pull the dog over, and drop the dog back in the pile of puppies. And this is an aggressive action the mother's taking to the puppy to teach the puppy how to stay safe and stay with the pack and not go off as what we could call, literally, right, a lone wolf. So that's why that term is there, because dogs work in packs, and that's how it works the best. Us as human beings as well, we work the best when we come together. We need help from each other. That's what I'm saying. We need societies, but societies need to be regulated, and there needs to be a leader, otherwise it won't work well. It'll fall apart and just be out of control. That's why there's an alpha dog in the pack, okay, of dogs, truly. In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, right? That's what I'm saying. This applies to all dogs, the 6th of April, 2026. So what I am saying with the mother dog of just a dog litter of puppies in the wild is, as these puppies are growing up, the mother will be very aggressive with the dogs. She will bark at the dogs, she'll nip at the dogs, like do a small little bite, not trying to actually bite the dogs to hurt them, well, maybe cause a little bit of pain. That's what I mean. She's aggressively coming toward the dog, aggressively biting at the puppies of her own, but to teach them how to stay safe. This is what the mother dog will do to her litter of puppies just in nature, in these wild dog packs. And there's an airplane flying overhead, okay? Let's get Dante over here in the video. Hey, Dante, up. Come. Good. You're dirty, brother. Good. Good. Good boy. Okay, so we need to be just as the mother dog would be to her puppies. As the owners of these dogs, the only way, man, the airplane noise. I just don't want it to be any harder than it would need to be for you to hear me in the video, so I might wait out some sounds if it gets excessively loud. But we've got to remember, there's no such thing as a human being owning a dog until we take dogs out of their natural societies, their natural hierarchies, their natural family dynamics, and just their natural environment, and we bring them into our modern man-made world. So just as the mother dog will be very aggressive with her puppies out of love, out of disciplinary action to teach the puppies how to be safe, when the puppies will go to something like the edge of a cliff, the mother dog might bark at the puppies really loud. She might nip at the puppies, like I'm saying, bite at them without actually trying to bite them hard, but maybe hard enough that it causes a little bit of pain to teach the dog a lesson to stay away from the cliff so the puppy doesn't fall off the cliff and die. Or a raging river, right? Strong water coming down a river. If the little puppy that can't swim very well yet and still growing falls into the river, they might drown and just get swept away by a fast flowing river. The mother dog might be really aggressive with the puppy and grab it by the back of the neck and pull it away from the edge of the river and bark at the puppy, whatever she'll do to the puppy, being very aggressive out of love and discipline for the puppy's health and safety. Okay, so this is what we do as owners of dogs. We need to, for the health and for the safety, for the general well-being of the dogs, to have a good, well-rounded dog grow up learning things. Puppies in the wild, they don't really know anything until their mother teaches them things and how to do things and what things are. It's just like human being children. We don't know anything until our parents teach us things, or until just environments around us and our life that we live teaches us things. We need to be taught things, and often that's by either other human beings being very aggressive with us, with their approach on how to teach us, or things in life being very aggressive with us. Like if you touch something that's hot, you don't know it's hot until you touch it. Now it hurts, it's caused pain to you, but it's a good thing because now you know to not touch that hot thing again. Because we could even use the word aggression, because I like the way of seeing how we need to be toward our dogs, truly, because it's a natural thing that happens in every dog pack in the wild. The heat of touching something hot could be labeled as being aggressive toward you, right? Just very deliberate and stern is how the alpha dog is in the wild, because the mother dog for the puppies is essentially the alpha dog. That's what that is. That's the role she's playing until the puppies get old enough to where they have their own dog packs, and then they develop the alpha dog within that pack, and then generation after generation this happens. So yeah, when it comes to our dogs, a lot of people really don't like to be aggressive with their dogs. A lot of people don't like to yell at their dogs, or they don't like to give their dog a little spank, if you will, or like a firm smack, okay? to teach them not to do things, people will say that this is abusive toward dogs, and they'll call you whatever they call you, or they say that this is bad and you shouldn't do it. Well, I understand that these dogs that are domesticated are to a degree removed from their wild natures, but that's the point, is we've done that as human beings. It's natural for nature to be very harsh. It's extremely hard to live in the wild for dogs. So many dogs don't make it. That's what I was saying earlier. That's why the dogs are healthy in the wild. They have to be, or else they die. Okay? So, nature's extremely harsh. Nature's extremely aggressive toward the dogs in the wild. And we need to emulate this as the owner of the dogs, just to give the dogs a natural approach to life. But also, if we're ever going to expect a dog to listen to us as a human being, we have to give him a reason to. Truly. In the wild, a dog's not going to listen to another dog until that dog proves itself as the alpha dog. Why would one dog listen to another if it didn't have any kind of reason to, when it could just do whatever it wanted, right? We have to remember, as much as we love them, these are just animals. They're just dogs. They're extremely intelligent, and we don't need to be overly harsh with them, okay? They're sensitive still, and from breed to breed, you've got a lot more sensitive dogs than other dogs. The breed of a poodle, for example, is generally a very, what you could call, sensitive dog, like emotionally. But we need to be very harsh with our dogs to seriously prove ourselves to the dog as the alpha dog. If our dog doesn't know why they'd listen to us, they're not going to listen to us. If we want our dogs to be obedient, they have to listen to us. Whether you want your dog to be obedient, that's not even a question really. It's about the health and safety of the dog, because this is what we discuss under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles a lot of the time. Our dogs living in this modern man-made world, there's a lot of hidden dangers. There's poisons that are man-made. There's cars or vehicles or anything like this that could kill the dog instantly. And the dog doesn't know anything about it until they do, and they still don't understand these things quite the way that we do as human beings, okay? No matter how smart your dog is, or how educated your dog is, yeah, how intelligent your dog is, how much your dog has experienced certain things, they still just will never quite understand human being societies the way that we do as human beings. Okay? So we need, for the dog's sake, we could truly say the dogs need us to be the alpha dog in the pack. Okay? In the wild, the alpha dog is going to be deciding what happens, and that is a good thing because the dogs need to know where to go to hunt, to eat, so they can all live. And if there's not one single dog deciding where they're going, they might not all go to the same location. And then you might have dogs dying because they go off on their own and they're not working together as a pack. If there's not one dog in the wild that's determining where they go to try to find water just to stay hydrated, they might go different directions, and you might have dogs just dying because they're not working together as a pack. So with these domesticated dogs, we as the owners, as human beings, which that's weird first of all, we're a completely different species to the dog. Getting a dog to listen to another dog in nature is one thing, but now getting a dog to listen to a human being, why would they ever do that? Unless they had a reason to. We need to prove ourselves truly in a proper, right, healthy way to our dogs as the alpha dogs so they'll listen to us. We are the ones that give them food. We're the ones that give them water. We're the ones that determine where they go in basically every instance of their life because we are their owners as human beings. But a lot of human beings get pushed around by their dogs. A lot of human beings will have their dogs determine when they feed their dogs and how much. A lot of human beings will have their dogs determine where they go and where they can't go. Wow. Yeah, we can't have our dogs be dictating our lives, or else the dogs will run the show, if you will. The dogs will be in charge. They have this natural instinct. No matter how far removed we could possibly get dogs from their wild natures, they've got their own family dynamics in their breed, in the canine versus the human being. They work differently than us. And if we're not getting our dogs to listen to us, even though our ways are so foreign to them, they're not going to listen to us. Why would they? Right? So we can't have our dogs being in charge, or your dog becomes the alpha dog in your pack. Even if you own only one dog and it's just you and your dog will become the alpha dog if you let it. Your dog will tell you what to do if they can. And this happens. I've seen it often. People will run their dogs. Well, yeah. People will run their life based on what their dog wants. And that's not okay. Not only is it not okay because your life will just be changed in a way that's unnatural and unhealthy for you personally, but for the dog, they're gonna get a misunderstanding on how they can act, because our dogs can't be the alpha dogs. They can't. Not only could we say that it's not the best thing or not ideal or not good for them to be, but our dogs literally can't be the alpha dogs, because if we've got them under our ownership as human beings, they can't decide anything really. So now you're going to have all this mixed understanding in your dog. If it thinks it's trying to be the alpha dog, but then it can't even decide when it eats, because you as the owner are the one providing the food only when you say so, the dog's going to just get really confused and have a really weird understanding of life. Truly, that's what I mean. We have to be the alpha dog to our dogs for our sake and for the dog's sake. Truly. I mean, really, you have to. You have to. You know, don't let me tell you what to do, but you have to. It really, I mean it. Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, you have to be willing and okay with being aggressive with your dog, with yelling at your dog, because in nature, the alpha dog is going to bark the loudest at the other dogs. I mean, the dogs have a lot of different ways of communicating, you know, verbal and non-verbal, just like we do as human beings. But the way that the dogs communicate with each other verbally, a lot of the times is through barking. And if you as a human being aren't loud with your dog, you know, and I get this is the thing. This is why it's just different regardless. This is how we can see that it's just unnatural to begin with to domesticate a wild animal. It truly is. That's why our slogan is letting dogs stay natural. Under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles here. I mean, that's the point. It's already just unnatural and in ways truly damaging to domesticate dogs in the very, very first place, the first time it ever happened, however many hundreds or thousands of years ago it did, right? Yeah. I mean, that's the point. That's why we're here as In the Image Clothing Company, really. It's for the health of the dogs, and yeah. Yep, you gotta see context before you think that, you know, something's going on that isn't, because that's the point, is, Yep. Man. But I get it, right? Maybe you live in a city or around other people, and you're in an apartment or something like this, and you live fairly close to other human beings, and you can't really just yell all that loud at your dog because you're also trying to get your dog to stop barking, let's say. You know, this is why it's just different, because in the wild, dogs are howling, dogs are barking, dogs are making all their sounds and communicating with each other louder than just about any human being just about ever is. And so the alpha dog will bark loud at the other dogs to let the dogs know who's in charge. And so as a human being, this is what I mean, is we can't have our dogs running this show. We can't have our dogs being in charge or really trying to become the alpha dog. They'll never actually become the alpha dog over you as their owner. Like I'm saying, because things like you're the one that provides the food, that's never going to change if you're owning the dog, you know? So the dynamic just has to be there. You have to be the alpha dog. for your dog or dogs, however many dogs you have. Maybe you've got like 40 plus dogs. Yeah, same thing. Same thing. No matter how many dogs you have, it's the same approach. Because, yeah, you have to yell at your dog. Dogs bark at each other. We don't actually bark as human beings, but we can yell. We need to be loud. I mean, it's like you go into the woods and you come across a bear. You want to make yourself known and be big and be loud, because the bear is just an animal and it knows things out of instinct and it's defending its territory. And if it is bigger than you and it thinks it's in charge, if it decides to, it might attack you. Bears basically never attack people, okay? We talk about bears a lot, actually, under In the Image Clothing Company. I personally love bears, okay? I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. But what I'm saying is, if a mother bear is with her cubs, you know, and you go up to her, she might feel threatened. And if you don't make yourself bigger than the bear, or just seem like you're at least as big as the bear's not gonna really be afraid of you. Probably not. It's not really the best example, because bears are generally skittish of people. They want to stay away from people, and bears just about never attack people. It rarely ever happens, okay, unless there's a real reason to it. What I'm saying, though, is that's a good way to kind of see what I'm saying here. That is a good thing to say. That's a good thing, because you need to make yourself big and loud and a competition to the animal. It's just an animal. And let's look at this, because this is the truth. Dante here, my current standard poodle, if he wanted to, he could kill me pretty easily. With Dante's teeth and Dante's resilience and level of capability, Dante could kill me if he wanted to. That's why I use the example of the bear, okay? Not because bears are aggressive. Well, oh shoot. Bears are aggressive, but not because bears act out of hostility. You see what I mean? Bears aren't out there to just kill human beings. But bears are out there to defend themselves and their territory and their own cubs. Okay? We need to make ourselves known to these dogs. I didn't necessarily need to talk about bears. I could have made an example to do with a wild dog pack, but I do love bears. And it works, to see what I'm saying. That's awesome though, yeah, because the point is, a bear is not going to take you seriously if the bear is not thinking that you're going to be able to do any harm to it. The dog's not going to take you seriously if they don't think that you're going to be able to even be in charge. If you're not the alpha dog to your dog, well, they're not going to listen. That's it. And so we have to be very aggressive with our dogs. And again, you got to see what I mean by the word aggressive. Aggressive with our approach to owning dogs. Okay, if your dog's doing something that you're trying to train them not to do, you can't just, and don't let me try to tell you what to do. Hear what I'm really saying. You can't just be like, no, don't do that. You've got to really like yell at your dog. Or, you know, like I'm saying, it's not abusive if you're not going to physically hurt your dog. Give your dog a firm tap, a firm smack, if you will, with your hand. Like, don't hurt your dog. But the mother dog, here comes an airplane, in nature is going to be physically aggressive with her puppies. The alpha dog in a pack, which is the mother dog, from the mother to the puppies, but then just full-grown adult dogs with each other, the alpha dog in the pack is going to be physically aggressive with the other dogs. It'll bite at the other dogs. It will, do whatever it needs to do to just keep things in line and in order. It's for the health and safety of the whole pack. That's what we're doing with our dogs by being the alpha dog. Your dog's going around and there's chemicals on the ground. Somebody spilled some cleaner, or, you know, some kind of fluid or liquid or fuel for a vehicle or something like this. There's a lot of poisons, true poisons. Like, your dog licks it once and potentially they die within minutes, kind of true poisons that are man-made, that our dogs only are dealing with because of us as human beings. We've domesticated these animals. Dogs would never possibly even have any kind of opportunity to ever come across man-made poisons in the wild if there was no man-made poisons. Do you see what I mean? This is what I'm saying. You need to be audibly aggressive, physically aggressive, without overstepping and physically hurting your dog with permanent damage, but causing some physical discomfort. That is entirely a normal thing that happens in wild dog packs. We need to be the alpha dog for our dogs. Otherwise, you will not have an obedient dog. Little piece of context, I understand. From breed to breed, a lot of dogs just will want to be pleasing their owners more than other dogs will. Poodles, for example, they generally, across the breed of a purebred poodle, they want to please their owners. They are clingy dogs. They want to just follow you around and listen to you generally within the breed. But regardless, no matter what kind of dog breed it is, or what kind of individual dog it is within any breed of dog, they need to listen to you. And they're only going to really, very intently listen to you if you make it known you're in charge. Otherwise, someone has to be. That's how it works in the actual genetic wiring of the biology of the dog, is someone has to be in charge. It's just like human beings. Someone has to be in charge, really. And we know that. Even if we don't like it, personally, if you don't like having someone in charge of you, we know we have to have someone in charge or things don't really get done. If you're trying to do things with multiple people together, you have to delegate authority or it's not going to get done properly. Whatever it is, it's not. Unless it's something you can actually do entirely alone. And there's very few things in life that that's the case for, okay? Dogs are, just like human beings, wired, if you will, biologically wired, genetically wired, instinctually wired to be in groups or communities or packs. So, who are they going to listen to? Well, whoever makes it known that there's somebody that's honestly, truly, hear this correct, worthy of being listened to. That's how it has to work from owner to dog. You have to make it known to your dog that you're in charge. And it can sound harsh, it can sound abusive, it can sound overbearing. Well, that's how it is. That's how it is. All opinions aside on how to approach this, how are the dogs in their natural societies in nature? What's our slogan here under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles? Letting dogs stay natural. That's the point, okay? So your dog will just have so much more of a fulfilled life if you truly make yourself very clearly known to your dog or to your multiple dogs as the alpha dog or the one in charge. But also you'll have a safer dog, because if your dog is going up to or getting into something potentially dangerous for them, if they're not ready to listen to you because you haven't made yourself known as the alpha dog, then if you tell them to stay away from that thing and they don't know why, it doesn't matter if they know why or not. They need to just listen to you because you're the leader, because you're the alpha dog. And truly, again, hear this correct, they need to know that there's consequences that will come if they don't listen to you. Just like the alpha dog in the wild, if a dog doesn't listen to the alpha dog in a dog pack, the alpha dog will bite the dog. Or they'll drive the dog out from the pack and not let it be a part of the pack anymore. The alpha dog will neglect the dog from food if the dog's not being obedient to the alpha dog. Because the alpha dog's the one that organizes the hunt for the whole pack to get a kill of an animal to eat. And if there's a disobedient dog in the pack, not listening to the alpha dog won't let that dog eat. The dog will either starve, go find a different pack, or start to learn to listen to the alpha dog. That's really how it works in nature. It's not my choice, right? That's what I say. Under In the Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, as the founder, I say don't believe me, okay? Don't believe In the Image Clothing Company with any of our information. I even say it like this, don't believe any of our poodles, because truth is truth. We don't get to decide or change truth as human beings. What I'm discussing in this video is truly how wild dog packs are organized. God does this. The dogs just have this happen. Before human beings could ever even interact with a dog, every dog pack in the wild has the structure it has to its society, and that's how it runs and that's how it works. Otherwise it doesn't, and the dogs don't live. Okay, So there you go, being the alpha dog, okay? Being the alpha dog. This video under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, the 6th of April, 2026. So the point is, don't physically cause permanent damage to your dog, but give your dog a firm smack. If they're doing something they already know they shouldn't do, and it's dangerous to them, and there's actually a real reason to discipline them for it, the way that a dog in the wild would actually bite at another dog. You need to. The mothers do it to the puppies. It's not some kind of evil, tyrannical thing. You have to be very stern with your dogs. It's just an animal. I'm not saying that they don't have feelings or emotions because they're just an animal. What I'm saying is, why would an animal listen to a human being? We're completely different. We need to set the boundaries, okay? And really, you need to do this as quickly as you can as well. Like I'm saying with the mother dog doing it to the puppies, that's the thing, is puppies don't know anything until the mother dog teaches them. And so with our dogs being domesticated in our modern man-made societies, we're often, as human beings, okay, I'll say it like this, people often don't teach their dogs natural life skills as their dogs are growing up. I understand the airplane noise, okay? Yeah. Let me wait for just a second for the noise, okay? However long I wait. Yeah. Okay. I understand the noise. I get it. Here's the thing. Mother dogs, still noisy for me from the airplane. But yeah, I'm going to discuss this. Hey, Dante, up, come. Good dog. Up. Yay, good. Yay. Good, okay. All right. In the wild, the mother dogs, she'll be very aggressive with the puppies. She'll teach them what they need to know, and she'll raise them with this defensiveness that they now have against the harshness of the wild. The mother dog is benefiting the dog's entire life, and it's an essential thing that has to be done by being very aggressive with her puppies. Because if the mother dog is pampering her puppies and being extremely gentle only with her puppies, then when the puppies grow up, they'll go out there into the wild, try to find their own pack, and they'll die. Because the wild will be much harsher than the mother was with the dogs as they were being raised. That's how our dogs are as well. It's just an animal. That's what I mean by it's just an animal. They need to know what's going on. It's like we could say children of human beings, they're just children. We're not talking down on them, but we're just discussing their role in the grand scheme of life. Children are just children. Until they're adults, they only know what they know until they learn more. Dogs are just animals in our modern man-made society. They don't know anything until we teach them. We could say puppies are just puppies until the mother teaches them what it's like to be an adult dog. And so us being the alpha dog, if you're breeding dogs or if you get your dog as a puppy, right? Rather than rescuing a dog or, getting a dog from someone part of the way through their life, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you have a dog from puppyhood, right? From like right after they were born, 8 weeks, 10 weeks after the dog's born, you get a dog, let's say, you need to teach your dog young, okay, what it means to be obedient for their health and safety. You know how often puppies just get into things that they shouldn't, swallow things that end up killing a lot of dogs because they're in our modern man-made societies? I mean, that's the point. A lot of dogs will eat a lot of man-made things and they just don't know it's a dangerous thing, and they either suffocate on it, they can't breathe and they choke to death, or they swallow it but then it's too big or just doesn't digest and it can't pass through their whole body and they have to have a surgical procedure to have it removed. or maybe they just die before you notice it's even happening. These are a lot of things that happen with dogs because they're domesticated animals, and we need to be the alpha dog. We need to teach the dog. That's what it really means. I mean, that's how we could explain. It's one of the ways we could give a definition of what it means to be the alpha dog, is be the teacher. You go to a school and you're a student in a classroom and there's a teacher. The teacher is the alpha in the classroom. Truly, they have to be. If you want the classroom of human beings to be quiet and to listen to the teacher and to pay attention, the teacher has to be the loudest voice in the room, metaphorically or literally, but the teacher has to be the one in charge. The teacher has to be the one the dogs are going to listen to, okay? From owner to dog, or from dog to owner. But yeah, in the classroom, the teacher has to be the ones the children are going to listen to. Or maybe you've got a teacher that's teaching other adults, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily adult to child, but yeah. Who's in charge? Well, it depends from situation to situation. But when it comes to owning a dog, you're in charge. That's what the word means. Ownership. You have ownership over the dog, meaning you are the one in charge of the dog, and they only know that if you teach it to them. A dog doesn't even know what a human being is until it first sees one. A dog's a dog. A human being is a human being. You have to be the alpha dog. You have to. There's no opinion to it. You've got a lot of dogs nowadays that are just so unfulfilled. Dogs that don't really have a real purpose. You are giving your dog a more fulfilled life, and you're giving your dog a purpose if your dog is obedient to you. Because you're the one in charge, or you're the alpha dog. That's what you have to do. It's for the dog. It's beneficial to the dog. So anyway, what I'm saying is, a lot of people just don't know what's going on with domesticating animals. And we say this phrase often under In the Image Clothing Company. It goes for all of us. Certainly myself included. I mean, all of us equal human beings. Just sinful, imperfect people relying on a perfect God. We don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. And that's the thing. That's a lot of what we do under In the Image Clothing Company, is just deliver free information of things that are just happening. No side to take. We're owning a wild animal. It's got to listen to us. And we've got to make it known why it ever would. Okay? So that's what it means to be the alpha dog. And that's a lot of the reasons why. Okay? And there you go. All right. So that's probably where we'll leave this. Let's just show a little bit of Dante's obedience, just so you can see what I mean. Yeah. We'll go from there. Hey, Dante. Up. Good. Dante. You wait. Dante, come. Good, Dante. Come. Good. He went right back to the shade right here. So, the point is, it's not only for us. Us being the alpha dog, it's not just so we can be in charge and so we can have someone or something listen to us. It's not just so that we can teach our dogs tricks because we want them to do things that we're telling them to do. It is both beneficial for the dog and the owner in a big, big way on both sides of things if we are the alpha dog. Yeah, we know best in this society. Certainly, we know more than the dogs ever could possibly know about a human being's society as a human being. So having a domesticated dog, which means bringing a wild dog into a human being's society, we have to be the ones in charge. That's how it will work the best on our end as the owner and on the dog's end as the dog. Okay, so anyway, be harsh. Do it. Be harsh, but don't do it in an unjust way. Let me sneeze. If you are ever being very harsh with your dog, it's entirely fine in times when it's entirely fine. This is an individual understanding that needs to be there, because you can't rightfully discipline your dog. You can't give your dog a smack for doing something that you have, expected them to not do if they don't already know they shouldn't do that thing. That's not right. If you're being harsh with your dog, that's great. It's natural. It's beneficial for both the dog and the owner. Being aggressive, being harsh, being audibly loud, or physically giving your dog a firm smack, okay? Not permanently hurting them, but yeah, right? It's natural. It's healthy. Truly, it's how it works in the wild dog packs. It's how the dog learns. Only ever do these things if you can do all that you can. And when I say only ever, I mean we need to do this. But anytime you do, be harsh with your dog. You need to... Man, this is hard to explain because it's an individual understanding. You need to be connected with your dog. That's the point. You need to be in tune with your dog. You need to know what your dog's thinking and feeling to the degree that you can, because you can't rightfully be harsh with your dog, just audibly yelling at your dog the way that another dog would bark at your dog, or physically hitting your dog out of discipline, right? The way that another dog would nip or bite at a dog. These things are fine and they're good, done properly, seen with context, but you need to be able to be in tune with your dog, to know what your dog understands, to know when it's even okay to discipline your dog. That's what I mean. Yikes. Yikes. That's what I'm saying, is we don't know what we don't know, and a lot of people don't know what they're doing, owning a dog. And that's just how it is. We don't know anything in life until we do. But shoot, this is a hard thing to have be a universal understanding, because we're individuals, and a lot of people don't really get what it means for your dog to be happy, or for your dog to be fulfilled, or for your dog to be obedient. A lot of people don't know what their dog needs because they're not very in touch or in tune with their dogs. A lot of that's just lack of understanding, but then a lot of that's just from person to person. A lot of people are just more or less in tune with things like that than other people naturally. So there's just a lot that comes with this, but the point is making it known what your role is between your dog and you as the owner, or else your dog will try to become your owner, because it's an instinctual thing to have an alpha dog in the pack. So you might feel like you're going a little above and beyond. You might feel like you're being more harsh with your dog than you feel comfortable with. As long as you're not permanently physically hurting your dog, or like deeply emotionally scarring your dog. And that's why it's a hard thing to explain, because there's different understandings from individual to individual on what these things mean, which is a hard thing to have be universal, because we need to be as in tune as we can with our dogs. We owe it to the dogs to be one of them. That's what it means to be the alpha dog. It doesn't only necessarily mean you're above the dog because you're the leader. You kind of have to stoop down from where you are as a human being and become one of the dogs. In order to be the alpha dog, that's what you have to do. That's what I'm saying in this video, is you have to put yourself in the role and the shoes of the dog. You can't expect a dog to be a human being. You have to basically become a dog in your understandings and approach to it, truly. That's what I mean, is that's why you can hit your dog out of discipline, or you can yell at your dog because another dog would bite at a dog, or another dog would bark at a dog. We have to almost become a dog in the role dynamics of understanding to know what it could even mean to be the alpha dog. It's like what I say you know, everything that's the problem with a dog is actually the owner's fault. It has to be. Because even at the very beginning, like I'm saying, we domesticated these once wild animals. That's our, we could say fault, but our responsibility to begin with. Before any kind of behavioral thing could come up with the dog, or any kind of question on ownership and what's best and what's going to work and what's not going to work could possibly be questioned, we have to realize it's always on us as the owners of these dogs. No one owns the dogs in nature. Not really. The alpha dog is in charge, but the dog could just run off and become this lone wolf. As a human being owning an animal, we have to take responsibility of our role as the owner. As I say, your dog, well, it doesn't really matter what I say, just to be clear, but truly, your dog will only be as patient as you are with them. If you're trying to train your dog, patience, you first have to be patient as the owner. If you're trying to get your dog to see you as the alpha dog, you have to feel like you are actually in charge of your dog. That's the thing, is if you're wondering why your dog's not listening or not being obedient to you, well, do you feel like you're in charge? Maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable being in charge. Maybe you feel a little bit uncomfortable being that harsh with your dog. Well, that's how your dog's going to listen. That's really the only way, unless they become dependent and reliant on things like treats. And that's very unnatural. It becomes very physically unhealthy. It's very dynamic-wise unhealthy in the relationship understanding of it. And your dog's not being obedient to you. They're being obedient to what you're giving them. And anyone could give that to them. It's not really anything to do with you at that point. To be the alpha dog, your dog looks to you. They don't look to food, they don't look to toys, they don't look to treats, they don't look to experiences. This is what I've said many times as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, okay, here on one of our Fords, In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. The big point is, we have to be basically our dog's whole world if we want our dogs to listen to us. That's what it means to be the alpha dog, okay? So there's a lot that comes with this, but the point of this video's title is just that you have to, literally, you have to be seen in the eyes of the dog, whether you have one dog or many dogs, as the alpha dog if you want your dogs to listen. If you want an obedient dog, a safe dog, so they listen to you when you tell them to stay away from things that are dangerous that they may not even know about, or they might not know the dangers of, and yeah, fulfilled dog. Fulfilled and obedient. Those two things come hand in hand when it's done properly. If you're just trying to get your dog to do whatever you say because you just want it to do something, well, don't. I mean, have a proper reason on why you're asking your dog to do anything or to listen in the beginning. And this is what I mean is it's an individual approach to a degree, because people have different reasons for having a dog in the beginning, why they'd ever own a dog. And you basically need a reason to have a dog more than just because it's cute, okay? This is a life form, and that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of context, and that's what we're doing. I'm going to be doing this my entire lifetime, Evan Strong, as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, and all four sides. I'm the leader of this. I'll be doing this for my entire life. So context, we'll just deeper explain, there you go. We'll deepen, but deeper explain our understandings of what's going on here with what we're doing under In The Image Clothing Company and all four sides. But with the dogs like this, there's just a lot of context because we're owning a life form, okay? So you have to be in charge of it. It's like adopting a child. You have to be the parent. And what does it mean to be a parent? You could say adopting a child, or you could just say having children as well, same thing. You're taking ownership over a child as they're a child, and then once they become an adult, they're their own thing, really, right? Seen with context, we're always our own things, just like dogs are always their own things. This is what I mean, context. It has to come for understandings to be there with anything ever in life, because things are only what they are. We have to be the alpha dog, okay? But there needs to be a reason, okay? Anyway, there you go. The 6th of April, 2026, In the Image Clothing Company Poodles being the alpha dog. There's a lot of reasons why we need to, why it's important, and what it means. But like I'm saying, there's a lot more to this discussion that I could say now, but then as my personal understandings deepen and as time progresses, as In the Image Clothing Company's team builds, we'll have more of this discussed, and we'll be doing even more with dogs, specifically standard size purebred poodles, because we'll breed purebred poodles. Yeah, we will. Okay, In the Image Clothing Company Poodles to advocate for healthy dogs, for the importance of purebred dogs, for the health, not the prestige. Okay, again, all wild dogs, just about all, are purebred. Okay, you've got to see context, what's really going on. Only what is, right? Truth is truth. Things are only happening as they are. We have to know what's going on in life. Life's always been life for every human to live. We're just one of them, So, yeah, we'll show a lot with dogs as time progresses, okay? Here under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, we've got, like I said, the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. We've got In the Image Clothing Company podcast, where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 204 as of today's date, the 6th of April, 2026. And what we do there is have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. But you don't have to be religious or believe in anything, because truth is truth. We're all human beings, the same thing placed on the same earth, designed by the same God. Everything's the same for every human being to come here, besides our man-made world that's on top of God's natural earth that changes and fluctuates, but things are only what they are from generation to generation of human beings. We just deal with the same problems in different ways, or different problems in the same ways. All right. Anyway, In the Image Clothing Company music, another one of our fours. A lot of what we do is show the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter the neutral wrist. Straight out the outside of the forearm, down and out that pinky finger is the neutral to the wrist, with the bones of the body only being the shape and length that they are, the muscles of the body only being the shape and length that they are, and both only tracking in line. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's only one way that dogs' bodies could ever work. And we place clothing made by mankind onto these God-made bodies, so we can't be altering them, getting them into chronic patterning. There you go. Okay, rhythm and poetry, spoken word, lyricism, singing, guitar playing, music, geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages under In the Image Clothing Company music. All right, there you go. There you go. And a third. St. George, Utah, Dante, my current standard poodle, and I, Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, are going to be moving down to St. George, Utah this month, April 2026. That's where we'll be based as In the Image Clothing Company for life. So check it out. Okay, we filmed a video yesterday under In the Image Clothing Company's main site titled St. George, Utah for the location. And that's the reason we're down there, is for the actual beautiful desert environment, for the warmth. Year round it stays relatively warm. It's hot in the summers, but it doesn't get as cold in the winters as the rest of the state of Utah here. Well, yeah. Yes, right? So, yeah. Poodle parade events. If you want, bring your poodles, purebred of any size and or mixed poodles of any size, here to the state of Utah. We live up Utah for that reason. The beautiful, diverse nature. It's amazing here. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints headquarters are here in the state of Utah. It's another big reason why we live up Utah as In the Image Clothing Company and all four sides. Here's the thing. Come for the events, and the reason we're doing them not for In the Image Clothing Company's team, but we'll get people into nature and dogs into nature through poodle parade events. Things like subcategories, clean the creek or rid the rubbish, poodle parade events. Doing things for the environment, okay, for the health of the planet Earth. Giving information where we do and as we do on what we do is a lot of what we do. But the events, yeah, come for the reason we're doing the events, right? It'll be very clearly explained, each individual event we have in any way we do under In the Image Clothing Company, any of the four sides we could ever have events. Come for the proper reasons we're doing the events, because we're going to be doing the events for proper reasons. There's some big cool stuff going on here, brother, so seriously, all right, stick around. Thank you.